2 weddings in 1 weekend. All right, let's do a sneak peek on this one. Here, can you bang that out today? Oh, and can you send the raw footage to the couple via Google Drive after? That would be great. Come on, come on, come on. So it's not in this SSD. It's not in this SD card. It's gotta be in this SD card. I know it's in here. Oh, no, 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 it's not here. Hey, hope you're doing well. So some of those stories might be true, which is a shame because I used to be in IT for 9 years before I picked up videography. And one of my jobs was going into a company and assessing their file storage behavior from the employees and designing a file server that fits their need that's also scalable. So you could say that I'm a little bit embarrassed. And I could sit here and give you guys excuses like I'm so busy, I have kids, I have a bunch of these fast SSDs, I have a binder full of SD cards, and I just calculated how many I have. I have over 25 SD cards, so this right here is over $1,000. And technically this isn't the first time I'm building a file server, guys. I have one sitting right there. That was a total budget one, under $500. The problem with that one is it's just really slow, so I just kind of stopped using it. So today is the day I turn all this around. And the solution is gonna be building a smart Windows storage server. And I say smart because it has to be smarter than a NAS. Now there are pros and cons having a NAS versus a file server like this, which we will go over later in this video, but some of you guys who are using Macs like this are probably saying Windows. No, thank you. Actually, this is for Macs. Right here, this is my beautiful 14-inch MacBook Pro. Doesn't have a lot of storage. This is gonna be perfect for this one, especially if you deal with large files such as 4K video files like me. So in this video, we're gonna build a system and we're gonna do a little bit of day in the life scenario because I want you guys to understand why this is an urgency in my life right now. And 3, we're gonna do this live. So as I'm having issues, we are building a Windows system after all. We're gonna have some issues. We're gonna solve that live so you guys will know what to avoid. But most importantly, I want to explain the concept behind what makes a good file storage system, because if you understand the concept and if you're able to apply this to your life, man, this would be such a good video for you guys. So in this next section, I'm gonna go over all the parts we need for this project and why I chose these parts and how much they cost. But if you're not building this exact system, I encourage you to skip to the part where I talk about the actual concepts. So let's talk about what we need. Starting with the brain. I'm going with AMD Ryzen 5600G, a gangster of a mid-range CPU previously, but G stands for graphics. So this energy efficient CPU doesn't require a separate graphics card if the motherboard supports it. So we're going with Asus Prime B550M, but this mobile only has 1 gigabit Ethernet, so we're going to up that with this 10 gigabit Asus PCIe network adapter. For memory, we're going with 16 gigs of Patriot DDR4, cause America. But seriously, that's a steal with this cast latency of only 16. For M.2 drive slot, we're going with Crucial P3 500GB, one of PC Mac's top picks for certain use. For SATA drives, we're going with 2 Seagate 12TB iron 7200 RPM hard drives and 2 PNY 1TB SSD, which right now are heavily discounted. For power supply, we're going with the Seasonic Focus 750 watt, which has 10-year warranty and 80+ platinum rating efficiency. So I hope to use this for many systems to come. And to hold all this beast of a system together is the Thermaltake V21 Micro ATX case. Looks like straight out of Minecraft, but this shape has its purpose, which you'll see at the end of the video along with the total price. Oh, and to make the system literally cooler, I'm replacing the stock front fan with this one. All right, so you might be thinking, say, that sounds like a super overkill. So that's where the concept of smart comes in. I'm not trying to build a file server that's solely a file server. This is gonna be more than just a file server. So I'll explain all that at the end of the video, so make sure you watch that part. But let's talk about how this system fits into the big picture at a high level. All right, so this is what I call Project Data Star. Nothing to do with stars. I just think it sounds cool. Just trying to be a little bit geeky. If you get it, you get it. So this is gonna be the part 1 of what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna build 2 data stars. So this is the first one, DS1, and this is what I'm gonna call DS2. So we're gonna focus on this part. So this file server has 3 assigned drives. I have C drive, D drive, and G drive. C drive is simple, and if you understand this concept, this is the good practice. So C drive, you want to make it separate from your data drive. So if something goes wrong, you know, let's say you updated your server and then like you get a blue screen of death, which never happened to me before, but it has happened to other people, just saying. So you can restore this separate from your data. So that cheap 500 gig M.2 drive we got, it's gonna be the C drive. That's where the operating system goes. But the meat of this whole server is gonna be the D drive. So that 12 terabyte drive, we're gonna do it as RAID 1. So it's gonna mirror each other. So we're gonna lose half the drive. Yes, I know, sad, but it's gonna be redundant. Another thing that's kind of up in the air right now, we don't know how good this RAID controller is. So ideally, when you put it on RAID 1, because the files resides in both drives, yes, the write speed is gonna be slow, but when you read from the drive, if the RAID controller is smart, it should be able to feed both drives' data into the one source, meaning that 210 megabytes per second drive should double the speed. We'll also find that out. So this entire D drive is gonna function as an archive drive, and you'll notice there's also a G drive. So this is where it gets interesting. Remember that 2.5 1 terabyte drive that's really cheap? So I'm gonna combine them as RAID 0. You might be thinking, Horjo Tauntauns, what do you mean RAID 0? This is a file server. RAID 0 is not redundant. It is really bad. If you lose one drive, it's disaster. And you'll be right if this wasn't connected to the Google Drive. So this entire drive, the name G kind of gives it away. It's connected to Google Drive. So this can also work for Dropbox, but I get 2 terabytes of Google Drive for free. Technically, I'm paying for it, but when I get my business Google account, it comes with 2 terabytes. So I have 2 terabytes that's gonna sync right into it. And because each drive is 535 megabytes per second on the read speed, double that on RAID 0 should give me about 1 gigs per second. We'll also find that out how good that is. But essentially what this allows me to do is a hybrid system, which is a good time to talk about that over here now. So this is something I implemented at my IT job over a decade ago before it was a thing. So essentially what it is, you get the best of all 3 worlds. So we have here my beautiful 14-inch MacBook Pro with only 512 gigs of hard drive space, and we have the Datastar 1 right here, and which is connected to the cloud, the internet, the Google Drive. Now I mentioned that Google Drive storage is 2 terabyte, which I'm definitely using all of it. It doesn't fit inside my MacBook Pro. So what I'm forced to do is sync part of it, and this is how I'm using it. So that project I'm working on that week, or this project, it is stored in my Google Drive and it syncs locally. It's also on the cloud, and because the Google Drive is also installed on the Datastar 1, it is all syncing in a triangle. But let's say I go over to a coffee shop and I no longer have access to my home server, and this happens. So at that instance, at a coffee shop, when I'm editing my video and uploading maybe a couple more videos in that project folder, it's still syncing to the Google Drive, which is also syncing down to the server at home. So I'm not really off sync anywhere. I mean, heck, I can even lose internet in the coffee shop and I lose this and I'm still editing my video. Soon as I have internet back again, the whole entire thing syncs back and syncs down to the server at home. And let's say I finish my video project and I get home and everything is back online. I can take this project I'm finished with, I can put that on the file server, archive it away on that D drive it created, because I don't really need that anymore at that second, but I still want to recall it maybe 2 years down the road, who knows. So now that you know what the hybrid system is, let me explain this a little bit more in detail, why there's an advantage to having the entire 2 terabyte sync to that G drive. So inside my house, I have this. So this little dongle that we just showed you is going to be 2.5 gigabits per second dongle, which translates to about 312 megabytes per second because I have this special switch, which means when I'm at home, I can access the entire 2 terabytes of the Google Drive locally at 2.5 gigabits per second. And in the future, I'm going to increase that speed because right now, if you were to get a 10 gigabits NIC card, that thing is very expensive. So as that price goes down, I'm probably going to upgrade. And there's also a possibility I'm going to be getting the M4 Mac Mini. So hopefully that already has a 10 gigabit network card already pre-installed. So this whole thing is going to be future-proof and scalable. And speaking of scalable, you'll notice the second Datastar over here, and you might be wondering, what is that for? So as I upgrade my NIC cards and possibly a new system that can support faster bandwidth via RJ45, I have a second server here. I'm going to call this DS2, and that basically mirrors the DS1. So when DS1 goes down and this completely kaputs, I still have DS2. And even without automatic redundancy, and all I have to do is change the IP address of these two and I won't have any downtime whatsoever, even if the one goes down. And the plan is also when M.2 drive gets a little bit cheaper, this D drive is actually gonna be the M.2 drive syncing back and forth, and the speed that I'm gonna have directly to my Macs, it's gonna be oh so good. All right guys, so let's go ahead and build the DS1 first. Actually tomorrow, because I gotta go pick up my kids.
Day 2.
Alright guys, so we have a little bit of setbacks. I was ready to go to build this thing and I'm missing one little part, and that is thermal paste. And this makes me mad a little bit because thermal paste to me is like having soy sauce at an Asian household. I always have thermal paste. So all that to say, you gotta order thermal paste, guys. So I'm gonna leave that in the link in the description. Don't forget. So we'll go ahead and add that to the tab. So I went ahead and ordered from Amazon overnight. So I should have that by tomorrow. Right now I have to go over to Baltimore, which is about an hour and a half in traffic, to go to this YouTube community meetup. And I'm gonna get a bunch of B-rolls and I'm gonna feel like I have nowhere to put it, but I'll try my best to capture it. All right, let's go.
Day 3.
Moment of truth, guys. Will it post? Here we go. Okay. Come on. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Everything looks good. We got processor registering, memory registering, C drive registering. I didn't do the D drive and the G drive yet, so I want to just make sure I can troubleshoot if something goes wrong, but so far so good. So I have Windows 11 on a thumb drive. You can download this free from Microsoft's website. I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in here and let's see if we can boot to that drive. Let's go. One thing I'm noticing already, that fan is super quiet. I am so glad I replaced that. That's cool. Okay, we got some spinning going on. Yes. Okay. I don't have a product key yet, but we'll get to that later. All right, we're gonna go ahead and install Windows 11 Pro. Next, install. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let that run. I actually do have a wedding to shoot tomorrow. I know, it's just chaos this week. Now, I don't usually film primary on a wedding, but this is a special scenario where I'm gonna have to take all the files and upload it to possibly Google Drive, which means, you know, I'm gonna have to make some space. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready. We're gonna finish this tomorrow.
Day 4.
All right, guys, I am back from the wedding. I am very tired. It's past midnight, but I gotta move on. So the wedding went well. My second shooter, Vu, from MVU Films, kind of funny to say because I usually work for him. I'm his second shooter usually. So yeah, he gave me his SD cards. So I have all the data right now. I need to offload this. And I need to send the couple the footage hopefully by tomorrow somehow. And I am completely just maxed out on everything. SD cards, Google Drive space. I don't want to pay for Dropbox right now. And I might have to if I can't clear this enough. So only thing I'm gonna do tonight is actually sync the Google Drive down to this 2 terabyte RAID 0, and I'm going to sleep right now, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.
3 weeks later.
All right, guys, yep, it's been that long. It's been so crazy. My wife's been out of town. She's gone on a business trip for 10 days, so everything is totally fine. Send help. So we're gonna be able to finally answer some of the questions I asked in the beginning of this video, such as how does this system live up to actual specs in real life? So at this current stage, I was able to offload a bunch of files from my Google Drive down to my D drive. So look at this, how much space I have on my G drive. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this much free space on my Google Drive. This is very exciting. You know what this feels like? This feels like I just drop off my kids, figuratively and literally. So I was able to send that wedding footage to those special couples. I know if you're a wedding filmmaker, I know you're like, that's a no-no. It's my friends, guys. It's my special friends. So I'm only doing this one. So I sent them the raw footage. But let's get to the good part of this video. We're gonna actually test live how fast this D drive is. The D drive we talked about as RAID 1. So this is the 2 slower drives, right? So technically the read speed on this is at 210 megabytes per second. But because it's RAID 1, let's see how smart this RAID controller is. So I have here, this right here is a 2 gig file. And we're gonna transfer this file down to the C drive. And the C drive is not gonna have any bottleneck because this is the M.2 drive. So let's see how fast this is. And here we go. 2 gig file going down. Oh, this RAID controller is not as smart as I thought. So yes, it is a little bit faster than 210 megabytes per second, but it definitely was not double. But it's not over yet. Let's test the RAID 0 here. Put this exact same file from the RAID 0 down to the C drive, and it's definitely faster than 5. What do we say? 535 megabytes per second. I think I was reading above 700, so RAID 0 is definitely faster. Now the real test is gonna be when I connect all this via network, is this fast enough for this laptop to read it off inside Premiere Pro? So let me connect all that and let's test it. And before I test, I do have to tell you guys, this little TrendNet adapter, this thing turned out to be a dud. Yeah, so when I connected this, no light, nothing, no driver prompt, anything. I even tried connecting to it via PC. It did not work. So I have to buy this one, Anchor 2.5 gigabits per second network NIC card adapter via USB-C. So I'm gonna connect this. All right, there you go. So I did turn off the Wi-Fi on this one. So it's going straight to the NIC card. And this computer is connected via the 10 gigabit Asus NIC card. And that thing was awesome because when I installed it, Windows 11 recognized it right away. I didn't have to manually go into the website and download any drivers. Now I'm not gonna go over every single little details about how to set up Windows folder to share with the Mac, but I'm gonna try to speak the right search terms so you guys can actually look it up yourself. But essentially all I did was set up a static IP address on this computer, and I just searched the word sharing, and that brings up the manage advanced sharing settings, and all you have to do is turn on the file and printer sharing. And I did set up the account with the password, so when you go ahead and share the actual folder, in this case I share the entire D drive and G drive, and even though they are set up and formatted as NTFS because you're sharing it via network, this Mac can read it just fine. And the way you would access from a Mac, all you have to do is go to Finder and go to Go and click on Connect to Server, and you just have to type in SMB:// the actual IP address of this computer and click on Connect. And because I have actual account set up here, okay, let me go ahead and type that in. Okay, you didn't see the password, right? Okay, connect. And let's start with the D drive. And here you go, that same file right there, the 2 gig file. Let's see how fast this is. That's not bad, totally doable. So let me go ahead and see if I can preview this file directly from the network. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is totally doable. Can I skip it? Oh, smooth. Oh yeah, no lag. So this, by the way, is 4K 422 60 frames per second, and it's playing it no problem. Let me go ahead and fire up Premiere Pro and let's see if I can actually insert this in and edit directly off of this. Okay, so I'm going directly from the D drive of this computer into this timeline, okay? And I'm gonna insert it here. Oh yeah. Is it gonna read? All right, what happens when I slow this down to 40%? Guys, it's totally possible. I can edit directly off to this computer. All right, one more thing. So technically the G drive is even faster than the D drive. So G drive is all of my Google Drive in one location. So even though this laptop only has 512 gigs of storage, I can actually have 2 terabytes, the whole entire Google Drive available here. Now the key here is to actually download the entire Google Drive into the G drive. So you're not doing that whole offline mode. When you first set up the Google Drive, you have to specify that you want to download the entire content to the G drive here. So here's my entire Google Drive, guys. So recently, let's see, I had another YouTuber from Florida visit me, and some of the footage, I had to actually send it to him, and let's see if I can play this directly up. It should, I mean, obviously. Oh, okay, that's a confidential thing. Hopefully I blur that out. Let's see. Oh, is this all confidential file? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Here's some footage. So the advantage of having this hybrid system is that you don't have to sync the entire Google Drive to this laptop. I can just instantly pull whatever I need from this smart file server down to my laptop and start editing. So I'm gonna go ahead and package this all up, seal this computer, put it where it's actually gonna go, and we get to finally talk about the smart features of this computer. So let's go. So the first smart feature of this file server is gaming. Obviously, can a NAS do that? I'm just kidding. No one got time for that. Let me go ahead and quit this game real quick. Okay, so yes, this exact setup can play some of the older PC titles as long as you have your setting low. So here's where I put the new setup. It's inside this IKEA shelf, but that fits exactly in place. Does anyone else have IKEA Kallax? Seems like none of my friends have it, so let me know in the comments you actually use this kind of furniture. But I did months of research to make sure that Minecraft shaped case fits in there exactly. And I mean exactly. So if you take off the rubber feet from the case, yeah, it fits in there by millimeter. It even clears the back, so that's awesome. But one of the main smart feature that I'm really gonna use this file server for is the Hyper-V. That's virtualization that's built right into Windows 11 Pro. All right, so what I'm about to tell you, you have to promise me you use this responsibly. So I am a video editor slash filmmaker, which means I study a lot of films out there. And you guys know if you try to screen record or screen capture videos from like Hulu or Amazon, it's just a black screen. So using virtual machine inside the computer and taking a screenshot of that, I'm able to study these screen grabs. So that's one use case. Also, I like to try out different plugins and software. There's just so many out there. Some are kind of legit and some are not. But I'm able to put it inside this virtual machine and basically nuke it after testing it or revert back to a time. That way I'm not messing with new software on my main computer and clouding it. An obvious use case might be playing music on here or videos on here, making that basically my media center. And this machine is powerful enough, you can launch Premiere and render videos on it on a clutch. So those are the features NAS just can't do. I feel like NAS is very overpriced these days for what it is, because this smart file server costs $1,149.98 if I do the Asian math right, to add up all the parts, including thermal paste. And what makes this really underpriced is that most of the parts that went inside this is reusable. Now, like any kind of gear, there's some cons to this, and that being the learning curve to building a system like this. It can be a little bit steep if you never dealt with PCs before. So if you have a little bit of experience with PC, I think you can definitely set this up. Whereas in NAS, out of the box, it's definitely easier to set up and integrate that with the cloud. But where's fun in that? So if you need any motivations to save money and have some fun and build a computer, yeah, here's your excuse right here. So what I'll do to help a little bit, there's some gotchas, right? So some hurdles to get over while building a system exactly like this. So I'm gonna link that video straight into the description. It's gonna be an unlisted video. I don't wanna bore everyone with details and geeky setups. So there's a video for that, but I should mention that I end up getting this new 10 gigabit switch, 5-port switch by TP-Link, because I have a new computer. So this right here is a new M4 Mac Mini, the base model. So it only has 256 gigabytes of hard drive, but it was really cheap to upgrade this port. This RJ45 port that's 10 gigabit, that was only $100. So I wanted to make sure all my setup is upstairs and small and compact and silent. I didn't need any fans in the switch. So the switch actually is sitting right below this shelf right here. Yeah, and I'm really liking this TP-Link brand. Unlike other brands, it doesn't wipe your budget clean. It's only $300. So the ideal situation for me at home is going to be using this M4 Mac Mini to take advantage of this 10 gigabit network. And for the MacBook, I'm going to use the Wi-Fi. So this laptop is capable of Wi-Fi 6E. I just don't have Wi-Fi 6E router. So when I upgrade that, I don't have to use any kind of dongles. And remember that hybrid diagram I showed you? So I'm going to use the MacBook to edit my videos in a coffee shop. And when I return home, that exact project will be synced down to my file server, which I'm able to edit via using my Mac Mini. And for those of you who wants to see the exact number on a benchmark, I did download the Blackmagic disk speed test, and that test basically told me that D drive was getting a little over 256 megabytes per second on the write and around 273 megabytes per second on the read, and the G drive was getting around 254 megabytes per second on the write and around 271 megabytes per second on the read, surprisingly. So the bottleneck here really is this 2.5 gigabit dongle, so that's why I'm really leaning towards that 10 gigabit. So to give you guys a little context, that benchmark that I just showed you, it's basically around the same speed as the V60 card that I have right here. So if you're working with Sony 4K files, that's not a problem whatsoever. I thought that's helpful in terms of context. But I am very, very excited about this new computer and this whole entire setup. And I have to tell you guys, minus the honeymoon phase of new gear, I am so relieved. I was going through so much stress and anxiety. Every time I had a video shoot, I just didn't have enough space to offload my files. I had way too many SD cards around. I am really looking forward to this winter. I don't know about you guys, but my definition of having a good time in the winter is getting a hot cup of coffee, maybe a cozy socks and bathrobe, and just sitting down and organizing my files onto a file server. That's the kind of winter I want to have. But meanwhile, I'll definitely be testing this M4 Mac Mini with the 10 gigabit setup, and especially for video editing, because that's what I do. And on this channel, you'll probably start to see a little bit more videos about recalling some of the older videos that I have, because now I have access to it. So until next time, I'm gonna go ahead and play one more round of Street Fighter.